Hi, and welcome to my channel. This is Dan at DH Squared. We really do appreciate your support and for tuning in. I do want to remind you that if you do enjoy this content, please leave a thumbs up and some comments down below. Thank you. Now today we're going to be talking about the Dyson HP01. What this is a air purifier, heater, and fan. So I'm going to be primarily using it as a heater, but in the coming months when it gets warmer, I will use the fan just to circulate the air in my house. So let me go over a little bit of the features that this has, how the remote works, and just a little bit more about this. So the remote control is here, and the different buttons that it has a power button. To the right of that is the button you push to turn on just the fan. Then over here on the left, these two here, increases the fan speed. The two buttons here, this first one up here is what you would push to turn on the heater, and then this controls the heating temperature. You still control the fan speed over here even when you're in heat mode. This is a timer so that you can set it to turn off at a certain time. This turns on oscillation so it goes back and forth. Then there's these two buttons here. One of these makes the air shoot out a lot harder straight ahead, and then this button has the air shoot out not as hard but more of a wide angle of the air. So let's go ahead and turn this on. So I'll just hit the power button, and right away you can see that it is in heat mode because the little circle is red. It's because I was using it in heat mode the last time when it was on. So if you go ahead and change the temperature, up and down, so let's go up to higher temperature so it kicks in. So there, I got to a higher temperature, and you can see that little dot. The little dot means it's actively heating. So it was in heat mode, but without the red dot on, that means it's not actually heating because it turns off when it reaches the temperature you have it set at. So when I turned it down, you can see the red dot went off. So it's on, it's filtering the air, but it's not pushing out any heat. And another thing it's doing is when it's not pushing out the heat, it stops oscillating. So if we go to turn this again, let's turn it back on so the heat starts flowing. And let's turn on oscillation mode. You can see that it oscillates. But when you turn the temperature down to a point where it would kick off, or if the room temperature reached the temperature you had it set at, it'll stop oscillating. So that's just something for you to know. Now, when it's in heat mode, you can change the fan speed, and that's by using this button here. But it needs to be actually heating at the moment for you to change the fan speed. Right now, it's just in air purifying mode, and you cannot change that speed. So you can hear it running a little bit, and that's something you can't change. But if we increase the temperature again to kick this thing on, you can see it starts oscillating again. But then this is where you can adjust the fan speed. So you can see what speed we're on, and I'm just changing it by pushing this up and down here. But you can see that it gets quite a bit louder. And it goes all the way up to fan speed 10, which gets pretty loud. I don't see myself ever running it that high. I'll usually run it down around 3 to 5, somewhere in there. So let me turn it back down. down to 3. And at 3, it's just a quiet fan sound. It's not anything that's crazy loud. So let me turn off oscillating just because it's annoying to see that go back and forth as I'm explaining it. But there's these two buttons I mentioned earlier. So if you put jet mode on, that's what this one's called, the little icon or the little display showed that it's in jet mode, and it's going to be pushing the heat or the air out straight ahead. If I push the other button, you can see the little display went into like wide mode, which doesn't push it out as hard straight ahead. It just kind of spreads it out more. So that's it for heat mode. Let's now go to cooling mode. So to go to cooling mode, you just hit this blue button, and now you can see the little circle turned blue. That shows you're in cooling mode. It's not actually cooling, it's just a fan. So some people think that this will actually cool the air when it doesn't. And then again, fan speed, same as with heat. Oscillation, different air blowing modes is all the same on cooling, except it's just not generating the heat. The timer mode is here. When you push that, each time you push it, those are the minutes, or it goes up to 1 hour, 2 hours, and it'll go all the way up to 8 hours. So then after 8 hours, this will just power down. So one thing to know, when it's powered down, it is doing nothing. It is not filtering the air. It is like doing nothing at all. So if you want this thing to be on and filtering the air, you would want to turn on cooling mode down to the lowest setting. And the thing with this is it is still blowing air out. You can feel the air blowing out of this thing. So that's really the only way to have it be purifying the air, is to have it in the fan mode and to be blowing some air. Now you might not want air blowing around your room. So I did discover kind of a workaround to be in air purifying mode without blowing air. And that would be to put it in heat mode, but turn the heat down well below a temperature that'll kick in, let's say 50 degrees. So it's just purely in air purification mode, waiting to kick in if the temperature reaches 50. So that is really the only way that I found for it to not be blowing air out of here, or just minimal air. I mean, obviously there's airflow if it's pulling air in through the filter and coming out, but it's very minimal airflow and purifying the air. So that is a workaround to have it be in air purification mode without it being in fan mode, blowing a lot of air. So again, this is the Dyson HP01. I picked this up on Dyson's website as a refurbished model. It was $180, which is an amazing price, honestly. Normally this would go for well over $300. It's about 2 feet tall. It has a 6-foot power cord. The filter, they say, is good for 12 months if used 12 hours per day. So if you have this running 12 hours a day, the filter should last you a year. It's real easy to change the filter. But to do that, there's these buttons on the two sides. You push those two buttons in and you pull the housing up over the top, and then you slide the filter out. You slide a new filter in, you slide that back over, and it clicks back into place. So that's real easy. One other thing that this fan has, and not all the fans or heaters have this, but you can adjust the upward tilt. So if you want to tilt it up, you can tilt it up higher. so that the air can be pointing upward. So since it is only 2 feet tall or so, you may want to project the air upward a little bit so you can tip it back so the air is pointing up. Or you could have it just be pointing straight and have it sitting on a tabletop or something like that. So this again is the HP01. Super deal at Dyson, refurbished. Still comes with a 6-month warranty. Otherwise, pick one up new, but it doesn't have any Wi-Fi capabilities. It's not smart in any way when it comes to that sort of thing, but it does do air purification, heating, and a fan. Personally, I've had some experience with some of the more expensive Dyson models. I did do a video on one that is available at Costco. I'll put a link up above. That one was overkill. It had a lot of features that I didn't really need. Had a fancier display, was a little bigger, but it was, you know, more than double the price. And it just, I could have 2 of these in different rooms for less than what the one of those would have cost, with those extra features that I didn't really need. One other thing to mention is when this thing is oscillating, you can't change how much it oscillates. It oscillates at about a 70-degree range, whereas the more expensive models, you might be able to select 45 degrees, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, and so on. This one, it's purely 70 degrees of oscillation, which is fine for me. For my application, it's fine. I'm just heating a small room. So anyway, that is all I wanted to say about this. Please leave comments below. Give this video a thumbs up if you found it useful. And we'll talk to you next time. Thanks for watching.